Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Good Tea and Reads. I want to give a disclaimer at the beginning of this show. All the information on this show is used for conversational, inspirational, and educational purposes. We talk about mental health issues, but any information that's used on this show is not for you to take it personally and diagnose yourself. Please go see a mental health professional if you need a higher level of care. This is not a substitute for you finding your own person to talk to. Okay? All right, we getting ready to get on with the show. Y'all, let me go ahead and open up with this. I gotta really confess. So, one thing that I learned getting older, they talk about how taste buds change. I'm thinking all kinds of things change, right? I'm somebody that loves to chew gum. I will chew gum. I mean, chew, chew, chew. I'm just real big on fresh breath. And I like to talk. I like to smile. I like to greet people, right? But I like to eat also too. That foods that may not smell good later on. So went and got some gum. I talked about this, I think, on another episode too. And so I was chewing this gum. Next thing I know, my throat started to hurt, right? And so I did talk about this because I talked about doing all that hawk, again, not the hawk puh. Not talking about that. That's a whole nother different hawk. I'm actually talking about, I have, like, when people got those bad allergies. So I thought that was a one off. Because I'm like, I brought this whole pack of gum and I didn't just buy a single pack with about I don't know, 10 or so pieces. I brought a double pack. And I don't like to waste money. I ain't going to even lie to you. So yesterday I went to an event and I said, well, I want to make sure that my breath is fresh. Like, I'm refusing at this point to think that I have to go buy some more gum because I got like 18 or so pieces left. I I chewed, if that's such a thing to say, on that gum for about 2 minutes. My throat is on fire. So any other time that I start Good Tea and Reads, I actually started out with singing, right? But baby, this throat is throating right now. And I'm not talking about that hawk put. No, my throat is like hurting. So I found out that not only taste buds change, but then health stuff changed too, I guess. I'm gonna finally give up that pack of gum, okay? Also, I thought I would be big and bold and go on the camera. I'm not camera ready, y'all. I need to work my way up to that. I was looking at the video and I'm trying to see how to center myself in the camera. You know, the instructions that they give you. It's a whole bunch of moving parts, and I'm not the best at multitasking. But I promise you, I'm going to get glammed up. And once I go on the camera, it's no turning back. So, even though I can't sing my quit podcast, Searching You in the Right Place, I decided to try my falsetto voice. I have a falsetto voice, y'all. So, y'all probably gonna think I'm like, and guess what? Okay? So, just listen and don't judge. You're gonna have to hear my voice a little bit. I'm trying to figure out how to get music and stuff. I'm looking for free music. I know I asked somebody to make me music. I haven't received it yet. So this is why you get all this bumbling at the beginning. But y'all, I'm going to get up there like the rest of the people, right? I'm going to get up there because I want to make my money. I want to get sponsorships. I'm still trying to grow up, y'all. So cut me some slack because I know how people be in them internet streets, how those comments be. So, here we go. I'm getting ready to use my falsetto voice. And then we're going to get started with the show. Okay, because it's almost at the 5-minute mark. And I know some of you probably saying, she said a whole bunch of nothing. Here we go. I'm ready. Welcome to Good Tea and Reads. I pour the piping hot tea about mental health needs. I am your host, Kimbralon B. And ain't nobody better than me. Sorry, y'all. Okay, let me go ahead and get serious. And Good Tea and Reads, I like to talk about different topics and I like to tie it into mental health. I'll do it every time. There was another topic I wanted to talk about, but I need to get more data about it. So I will just stick with the topic that just really popped up on me yesterday. So I went to a Black therapist conference, which it was really fly. They had this networking session and it was really cool. And there was a dynamic speaker there. And she talked about ethics and she talked about self-care. But what I like about what she talked about ethical self-care, and that's for therapists. But specifically in that session, it was for Black therapists, but we know all therapists can use it. But let me tell you, this wasn't your average smaverage self-care, boom, boom, rah, 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 I go to the spa type session. It was some words that she said that about digging deep, man. And I look, when she said to dig deep, deep, because honey, I was at that surface because I talk about self-care. But during her presentation, I got so much revelation about where I'm at with self-care. So currently in the position that I'm in, at my government job, that's what y'all like to say, I actually oversee therapists, right? I mean, I tell people dabble in therapy just in case my job is listening. I don't have a business on the side. Let me throw that out because I know they like to comb in them streets trying to catch people. I don't have a business on the side. I actually see some clients where I work. And I talk to them about self-care all the time. I talk to my team about self-care. What are you doing for self-care? I'm the biggest rah, rah, rah about self-care, right? I am the biggest advocate on self-care. But I found out at that conference when we talked about self-care and we had to do a few activities, I had a moment, and I like to be transparent. I talk a good game, but I don't play the game, if you know what I mean. So I talk about self-care. I eat, preach, sleep self-care, but I don't follow it myself. But I realized last night, I take the information that somebody's given me because at that moment, I am not in that position at my job. At that moment, I am a Black therapist. And I'm sitting here taking the information in about the importance of self-care. And I realize that I don't do it. I take it in. It sounds good. I pick up strategies. I'm taking notes on my phone. I don't want people to think that I'm texting. And I go back, I share the information with my team. I share the information with my clients. I don't use the information. So now I've realized I take this and I excuse myself from self-care to help others, right? Because am I excusing myself because I'm being a noble person that care about others? No, no, no. I'm excusing myself because I don't want to hold myself accountable for not engaging in self-care like I should. So if I take it and tell people, you need to do X, Y, and Z, what are you doing for X, Y, and Z? They're getting what I'm saying. But if they were to ask me, Kimberlon, are you doing it yourself? My answer would be, no. Wait. Y'all, I got to tell y'all one more story. This is what happens when you get a mature person, because you become a storyteller. My dad, he was a storyteller, and he used to tell me some of the stories, and I used to laugh. And I ain't gonna lie, my dad's in heaven now, but I used to laugh because I would be like, "What do they got to do right now?" When I was younger, but now I'm getting older, I see that I'm starting to mimic him. But I got to tell y'all this story about the accountability piece. So there was a time at a church long time ago that I was actually teaching children. And so we were somewhat talking about sin. I don't know what we was talking about. And so I said, do anybody have any questions, right? Because I wanted to help them like stay on the right track. Again, I don't remember the contents of the lesson. I just remember the dialogue. So I had a little boy in the class raise his hand, and I'm like, "Yes." He said, "Miss Kim, yes." All right. So you talked about sin, and I just want to just let you know that I do cuss from time to time. Little boy, I do cuss from time to time. Um, can you help me or teach me how to stop cussing? Y'all, let me just let you know the recording didn't stop. That was me doing a long pause. And I ain't gonna even lie to you. I had to say in my head, "You ain't even stopped. And we in church. How am I going to address this? I'm in church. God hears me everywhere, but I'm in the house. I'm saying his word. How can I answer his question without incriminating myself or holding myself accountable? Yo, I got to answer his question. I got to be accountable to God. But whatever I say at that moment can make or break what he's trying to work on." Y'all, my answer was, "I don't know. I have to get back with you on that." Nope. I never got back with him. So yeah, so y'all, I just had to share that with you, talking about me and my accountability with self-care. So it tied in, right? I didn't go off on a rabbit trail. But but I found out that's what I was doing with self-care. And I'm like, "Yo, I need to pull that back in." Because I was doing that until she said, "No, I need you to dig deep." And I'm like, "Oh, there's things that I need to do." So I wanted to just pivot a little bit and talk about self-care this time. And I want to share it with you, because if you're not doing it, I want you to do better than me and get to a place that you can hold yourself accountable. All right? So let's go ahead and talk about self-care. And y'all, I don't do my own research. I hit them internet streets just like you do. If you were to Google, just like I do, again, yes, I am a therapist. When I'm a therapist, any of the techniques and strategies that I use, I have completed school, I've done research, and I've practiced it, and I've been trained in it. But for this show, since we just talking about mental health, oh, honey, we in the internet streets, okay? Work smarter, not harder, right? We in the day where AI is just telling us what to do, right? AI is making people. I saw another post, look, segue just real quick, that somebody is using pictures of women with their hair in cornrows, y'all. And somebody immediately said, because I was like, "Oh, that's pretty." Somebody immediately said, "That's AI. There's no beginning or end points." And God dang it, it is AI. I didn't even know that. So AI is taking over. We built this and they taking over us, and they putting us out of jobs. That's neither here nor there. We're going to talk about self-care, because what AI can't do is do the self-care that I need and you need. We still need to take care of ourselves. Y'all, it's a lot of stuff happening in this world, and we got to take care of ourselves. Okay? So, let's talk about what is self-care. I need to AI it real quick, right? I need to give you a definition because I could tell you what it means to me. But just in case you giggle it, I don't want you saying that Kimberlon gave you the wrong information. No, no, no. So the first definition that I came to on Google, right? Google's not sponsoring me, but if they want to, please, okay? I mean, any little bit helps, right? I ain't too proud to beg. Okay. Simple definition of self-care. The practice of taking action to preserve or improve one's own health. Let's break that on down before I move on. The practice. Practice means something that you have to do continually, right? I just can't go to the spa once and check the box and say, ooh, I engage in self-care. No, no, no. You just can't do that. Practice means you have to keep doing it, right? If you think about your sports stars, if you think about celebrities, if you think about us on our jobs, we don't just sit down and get it right the first time. You have to do it over and over again. And once you start to do it over and over again, you get better at it. You learn how to do it more efficiently. You learn how to do it timely. You can learn how to do it when you're in a rut. You can learn how to do it with downtime. But you have to practice. Means it's a continual action that is required of you. So it's the practice of taking action to preserve, right? So it's something that you want to be able to hold on to. It's something that you want it to benefit you, right? That means that it lasts, right? It's not just a check the box and go, like I mentioned earlier. I need to be able to hold on to it. Treasure that feeling, how it makes me feel. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. I should be able to hold on to that for longer than a second. Or improve, right? Again, we said practice makes perfect. We're not at that place yet. So even though we may glean in some areas, because some people are probably much more better at self-care than others. And, I'm talking about even myself here, because again, I said I couldn't hold myself accountable, right? So how good am I doing if I can't even hold myself accountable? If I'm thinking I'm helping somebody else, and because I like to help somebody else, but I'm not helping me, there's a lot of room for improvement. So there's nothing wrong with improving. Because usually when I ask clients, like, what do you do for self-care? After we talk about, like, what the definition is, so forth and so on, I go running, I go jogging. Okay, you at work. Sally sued and sat up here and lied to the boss, saying that you didn't give them a project on time, and you know ding dog well that you did. So now you hotter than fish grease at your job, and you are ready to turn up because it looks like Sally is smirking. Your whole mindset has shifted, and you are ready to go off. So guess what? You can't go for that run in that moment. What can you do in that moment to help you with your self-care? Huh? Improvement, right? Because we got to keep practicing, because practice makes that perfect. Practice get us to that place that we can identify those strategies that we can preserve and hold on to that makes us feel great. And if we need to improve, or if we need to pivot for what we're using, because at some point it may not feel effective for that moment, or it may not work anymore, then we may have to find other strategies. And it's to improve one's own health. Me, you are that one, right? You are that one. And last night, I know the presenter mentioned that we can model that behavior. Sometimes we need to model that behavior. Like, yo, I am a therapist, and I just admitted to you, stranger dangers. No. I just admitted to you that I don't hold myself accountable. So how can I improve my health? Those are things that I really need to work on, right? It's my health. If I model it, I'm not only going to feel good and be able to preserve or improve my health, But if I'm showing what I'm doing, I'm sharing what I'm doing, and you identify what works for you, and you see the benefits that I have, then you'll work on you, and you'll see the benefits that you can get, and people that you interact with can learn what works for them. See what I'm saying? It's kind of like a good contagious, right? So that's how that works with self-care. So self-care is the practice of, here's another definition too, of taking care of your own health and well-being. So once we get to that place, if we feel well, we want to stay well, right? We may have those bad days, right? Because we're human. Let me just hashtag we're human. Not every day is a good day. But when we have those bad days, we want to be able to navigate those feelings so we can maintain our well-being. So it's taking care of your own health and well-being across different dimensions, right? So there's levels to self-care, right? And I bet y'all like, dang, all I want to do is go to the spa. All I need is 5 minutes to myself, right? Yeah, we all do. So there's 5 types of self-care for every area of your life. And I'm getting this from the internet. This isn't my own words. This isn't my own thoughts. I'm going to throw my own thoughts in, right? But this is from verywellmind.com because I don't want nobody suing me. So the 5 areas are your physical self-care, social self-care, mental health care, spiritual health care, and emotional self-care. Okay. So it says good self-care. I'm just going to pull out some points, right? Because y'all can go find the article and read it yourself. Good self-care can take on many forms. Many forms. So again, I named 5 areas. So it's really important that we engage in self-care in all of those areas. I hear so many people all the time that I don't have time. Sometimes the people are not engaging in any activities. I don't have time. I don't know what to do. I don't have enough time to just set aside. I'm busy. I'm a single mom. I'm a single dad. I work 2 jobs. I do, you hear all of that. And sometimes I want to tell people when they say that to me, and again, I'm not, making anybody feel bad or shaming anybody. That is not my intent. I am in this boat while I'm talking to you. I'm actually talking to myself. But I hear so many excuses when it comes to self-care. So we are publicly saying to people, I am choosing not to take care of myself because I'm too busy to take care of me. I don't have enough time to take care of me. And then when we're flat on our bottoms in the bed, unable to get up, then we like, oh, I wasted a day, or oh, I'm tired. If we take care of ourselves along the way, then we can avoid some of those experiences. On the 4th of July, I usually, people usually go up north. In the state, I stay in the hottest state, y'all. The hottest. I mean the hottest. But 2 hours away, it's cool. A lot of people like to go up north because it's cooler. It's about 20 to 30 degrees cooler. And you always get these conversations about, hey, what are you doing for the 4th of July? Usually when I have those conversations, y'all don't come for me because I know y'all be thinking I'll be, making fun of people, but I'm not. But, I ask people, what are you doing for the 4th? I'm not celebrating that holiday. Okay. And that's fine, right? We usually people are off. I'm not asking what are you doing for the holiday, but what are you doing if you're off that day? Some people may say, oh, I'm going up north, right? I don't know what I thought I was doing. I said I probably was doing nothing. But y'all, guess what? I stayed in the bed and I slept all day. All day. I wake up, binge watch a show. I think I was binge watching, but I went back to sleep. When I say I slept the entire 4, I slept. The entire 4. Oh, yeah, when I did that ha ha, I'm like, oh, there's the gum throat thing that's going on. And when I told people I slept the entire day, they was like, your body probably needed it. Maybe. Possibly. That's true. But I could have been sleeping the entire day because this is me doing my own personal check. How was I feeling? To the outside, it may say my body needs rest, but inside, I may have been, experiencing sadness. I may have been dealing with depression. Who knows what could have been going on? But self care is a conscious act people take to promote our own. So I'm not talking to you, really. I'm also talking to me, but since you're listening, I want you to have that conversation with yourself. At this moment, it's okay for you to talk to yourself. But it's a conscious act people take to promote their physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional health. It is vital. Vital means life, y'all. It is vital for building resilience towards life stressors. Life is going to life. I know we used to sing row, row, row your boat. Y'all hear me say butt? OMG. Row, row, row your boat. But life is but a dream. No. Life is full of stress. No, I'm joking. You will experience stressors in your life that you can eliminate. I don't care how much you practice self-care, all the information that I just said a few minutes ago, right? Life is still gonna life, and you can't stop it. And another thing about lifing, it seems to life at some of the oddest times. Right? It's never something you can schedule, right? You may keep a tight schedule. You may be one of the most organized people in the world. But life seems to come in when you least expect it. It's like it knows. Aha. It's just like those checking account. You be using that card like nothing. You be swiping it. You be swiping those cards like nothing. And them charges say pending, right? And so you like, okay, I know that's going to come out. And then when that comes out, next thing you know, it's this outlandish charge that came out of nowhere. Good Lord. It was something that was probably on auto pay or something that you forgot about. Or it's that once in a year, that annual membership fee or something like that you forgot about. And sometimes I promise y'all, I think it waits to that very moment that I least expect it, and it comes on, and it's like, hello. And next thing you know, your account is in the hole. That's how it is with life, with those stressors that come our way. And we can't stop it, right? Because once it's done, it's done. So when you've taken the steps to care for your mind and your body, it says you will be better equipped to live your best life. I have to read this part, y'all. I was getting ready to break everything down for the sake of time, but I gotta read this. It says in this article, unfortunately, however, many of us view self-care as a luxury rather than a priority. And we do, right? We need to flip those around, turn it around, yo. And we need to start prioritizing us, our self-care. Self-care isn't selfish. No, it's not. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about physical self-care. Physical self-care is what it is. Us taking care of our bodies. We need our bodies to run efficiently. So when people, being as sweet as they are because they come from a good place, was telling me on the 4th of July, when I said I slept all day, that my body probably needed it. Who knows? I could have been stressed. I don't know what the heck was going on. I could have been depressed. I don't know what was going on. But I know that I need to take care of my body, right? Because there's a strong connection between our body and our minds. Okay? So when we care for our bodies, it says we think and we feel better too. And that's true. We do think and feel better. And sometimes I think because we go, typically feeling good and, thinking good, some people may, beg to differ with you. Sometimes if you say something to them, they may ask you, are you okay? Yeah, I am. Um, but when we think and feel better, everything is good. But sometimes I think we put that on autopilot, us feeling good and thinking good, because this is something that usually happens. And I'm going to give you an example why I say we put it on autopilot. We just do it day by day. Achoo! We start sneezing. That nose starts running. I start feeling down. I get a cold, okay? I can keep talking about it, but no. Now I have a cold. Or I get the flu or COVID or whatever. Anything that could be sore throat, I don't know. You name it. You think about stomach ache, something. Once anything attacks your body, headache, my throat, right? Remember I was talking about my throat earlier? Okay. Think for about 2 seconds how that can impact your thinking and your feeling when you don't feel your best. This is why we need to take care of ourselves. Okay? We need to make sure that we're fueling our body, what we eat. You are what you eat. We hear that. I say it now and I just guzzle down some sweet tea. Okay? What are we taking in our bodies? That can impact us. I know carbs is not my friend, but carbs act like they my friend because carbs are so good to me. But carbs are two-faced, right? They taste good. They go down well. It's the best. But for me, in my situation, it does so much harm on my body. So what am I taking in? So your food intake, water intake. Are you getting enough water? Now I just told you I stay in the hottest state, right? Or the hottest city, I should say, because like I told you, 2 hours away, it's pretty cool. But am I getting enough hydration? If not, how am I feeling? I start to feel dizzy, right? If I'm feeling dizzy, I know I can't be thinking top tier. Exactly. Because I'm still out there playing, dehydrated, playing tennis, y'all, being dehydrated and dizzy. And then this is probably another reason I couldn't get out of the bed, but primary example why you need to take care of your physical self-care. Are you getting enough sleep? I laugh when I read articles that say you need to get about 8 to 10 hours of sleep. That's healthy sleep. I am shocked if I can get over 4 hours. Like if I go to 6 hours, I think I'm hitting a PR. And I'm not bragging on it, but I have to figure out what is interrupting my sleep. I don't know. Again, that's where you got to explore. But if I haven't been holding myself accountable all this time for my self-care, I've made that 4 to 6 hour range like my norm. And I'm just, hey, I can get up and I'm good after 4 hours. But I don't know how healthy that is, right? Doing enough physical activity. I don't know how many of you all were stellar athletes before. Some people are, some people aren't. Not here to judge either way. I don't think I'm the best, right? And I think COVID had a tendency to make us just a little bit more motivated, especially when we had to stay in the house. Some people probably exercise, but y'all, I got a recumbent bike up front. A recumbent one. So I don't have that one with that stick for a seat that, be hurting my bottom. I don't have that one. But I have the one where you can sit down in luxury. Y'all remember we had the shelter in place and I was determined to get on that bike. I think I got on that bike probably less than 5 times, right? Lack of physical self-care. Caring for my physical needs, going to my appointments. How many of you all are doing regular checkups? Sometimes we don't go to the doctor until we feel sick. when we go. That's a trend for a lot of people, but I'm telling y'all, checkups can do the body good. But some people say, what I don't know won't hurt me. But yeah, but when you do, it will, right? You know what I mean? So, taking your medicines as prescribed. I'm going to roll on over that. No, I'm joking. Yeah, taking your medicines as prescribed. And if some people, I don't like taking medicine. I don't take no medicine. That's what people say. Well, if you take care of your body and you utilize these self-care strategies and engage in your self-care on a consistent basis to preserve or improve your own health, maybe you can reduce those medicines or even eliminate those medicines, right? It is so funny that we need those medicines in some cases, right? Not all the cases, to help us feel well. And once we feel well, we stop. But what are we doing after we do that stop? Huh? What you doing? What you doing? Okay? Don't come for me. I don't even hold myself accountable. So if you think I'm coming for you, don't come for me. I'm a work in progress. I can almost use that as an excuse, but I need to be a work in progress. But I ain't even started my progress yet. So I need to work on that. Ask yourself, I'm just going to read these questions because they talk about areas that people probably need to improve. Are you getting adequate sleep? If so, how many hours are you getting on the average? I just want you to, I like what she said last night about digging deep. Because if you tell me 8 hours, are you doing that consistently? Or did you just do it last night? Or did you do it after a night of partying and drinking? No shade, right? I'm not coming after people. But some things can contribute to you getting longer sleep. Like me, I just said I slept on the 4th of July. I slept all day. Maybe days before that, I don't recall. Maybe I was at 2 to 3 hours of sleep. Maybe the 4 hours of sleep caught up with me. Maybe I don't know how to sit in silence. I don't know. But it says that my body needed that, but am I getting adequate sleep to begin with? Is your diet fueling your body well? What are you feeding your body to give yourself the energy that you need? And not only the energy, and also the brain power that you need. Are you taking charge of your health? What are you doing about your health? Are you seeing your doctor? If not, will you start seeing your doctor? And are you getting enough exercise? Next thing is social self-care. Socialization is key to self-care, but oftentimes it is hard for us to make time for friends, and it can be easy to neglect our relationships when life gets busy. This area, socialization, is such a slippery slope because relationships is important. Some people say they don't have friends. Some people don't have any loved ones. COVID really did us dirty in this area when we had to segregate from others, right? Some people were trying to socialize with people in their homes, and that's when the rate of domestic violence and other activities, drug use, anger, sadness, actually increased during that time as well. Being isolated like that, some people really didn't have anyone to talk to. Virtual, everybody was trying to figure out the virtual piece, and it took some time for us to get it and figure out how to have social groups and family meetups, so forth and so on. But it is hard when life gets in the way. Me and I have a friend, she's such a dear friend. But for our schedules to sync, it is so hard, y'all. Sometimes we gotta, get together more consistently because when we are together, we have so much fun. It is the best. But it is so hard for us to get together. With cancellations, life is life, and it could be up to 6 months before we get together. And we get together for that hour, and then it's the next 6 months. And I actually have another friend, and I'm even ashamed to say this, the sweetest friend ever. After I finish recording, I need to reach out to her. I haven't seen her in over, I don't know, 3, 4 years. And I really can't tell you why. What, time? I can say it's time. But I can find time for everything else. So I need to be more conscious in this area, you know? So making time for friends. And there are some people in the world that deal with the opposite, where they don't have the connections of friendships, family. Um, Sometimes you'll see this a lot or hear about it a lot in the counseling room with your mature patients. Family doesn't have time for them. You know, the younger generations, they're all digital age, right? They do everything digitally. They don't have time to visit, right? They can sit there and be on their phones, on their tablets forever. And the mature people of the world, aka the older people, they don't understand that. You know, people are caught in the fast movement and everything else, and older people, they like being together. They like connection. They like belonging. And there are so many mature people that are missing that, and they feel that sense of sadness. So that social self-care is so important. You have like senior centers around that they can go participate. But how are they going to get there? Remember, I told you sometimes people can have like non-medical needs, like employment, money issues, transportation issues, phone issues. How are they going to get there to those events, that those, activity places? Us being mindful with that. Some people like, I don't have to be around people. I mean, and that's fine. But it's really important to have that sense of relationship. And when I say be around people and socialize, I think we think doing something every weekend, doing something 5 times a week, talking on the phone every day. I love to do that, y'all. That's all I do. Because all of my friends live in other states. The people I talk to the most. But it's not necessarily that. Like, you don't have to just be socializing, in and every day. You don't have to be that social butterfly. But, I mean, occasionally socialize. You're still having that connection, right? So, to assess your social self-care, they listed these 2 questions. Are you getting enough face-to-face time with your friends or your loved ones? Right? And again, you are the one that determines you're enough. Is it one day? Is it once a month? Is it every 6 months? Is it during Christmas, the holidays? Like, what does enough look like to you that you're okay with that? And what are you doing to nurture your relationship with friends and family? I just shared with you that I have my friends. I'm still trying to schedule with one, and I still need to go see one, right? And I know friends can be understanding, so forth and so on. But for me, and remember, we're talking about us because this is self-care, right? I need to make more of a conscious effort, if I can admit. Mental self-care. The way we think and the things we're filling our minds with greatly influence our psychological well-being. Well, how are we thinking? Are we taking care of the way we think? If somebody's battling depression, like a sense of sadness, or dealing with anxiety where they're worried, or dealing with some other type of mental illnesses, it can definitely interfere with your thought process, for sure, right? And sometimes you may or may not know. Again, if it interferes, I give people a simple meter, because you would have to go meet with somebody if you are not able to diagnose it. Hold on, y'all, I gotta scratch my ear. So if you hear that noise, sorry. Sorry, I had to scratch my ear under the headphones. But the simple gauge I like to give people to use is if it interferes with your daily activities, right? So if you think that somebody's out to get you, I know that's kind of extreme, but you don't go certain places, or you're thinking this way, and the way you're thinking or the way you feeling prevents you from doing your daily activities like work, going to the store, taking a shower or something like that, then you may want to go have a conversation with a healthcare professional to just see if you're okay, right? You may be okay if that's your norm. You may not be okay. And sometimes we may not recognize it, because if we've been dealing with something that's like unhealthy for such a long time, we're not going to know that it's unhealthy because it becomes comfortable for us, right? You get what I'm saying? I like to say the word right, y'all, so I know if y'all want to, do a bet how many rights she going to say during the show. And then go ahead and start. But seriously, think about that. Mental self-care also involves doing things to help you stay mentally healthy. For example, it lists practicing self-compassion, self-love, and acceptance, right? So many of us may be dealing with self-esteem issues or something that's attacking self. I had self-esteem issues. First word, hence self, means I am dealing with an issue that's impacting my esteem, that's impacting my ability to be happy, right? So you gotta find things to help you stay mentally healthy. That self-love, taking care of yourself. Again, I mentioned to you earlier, I'm pouring out like care and support and love to others. I'm pouring it out because they said service work is great. But just like they use that illustration of the Kool-Aid pitcher or a pitcher of water, because we're trying to be healthy. We're talking about self-care. So we won't say Kool-Aid. We'll say water. But if we keep pouring, 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 not refilling at all, we're going to run empty. Even though we're doing good things, or if we're doing bad things, right? We're eventually going to run empty if we're not doing anything for that self part and accepting it. Mental health care also involves things like, puzzles, hobbies, learning things that excite you, things that keep your mind sharp. I know recently, and I'm trying to get more active with this, I was using my phone a lot to like play games, and I still play games on my phone. But I actually went into a bookstore, everybody. This sounds so throwback now in the digital age. Went to where the magazines are, and I purchased a word search book. I purchased the variety of puzzles because I want to start doing puzzles to keep my mind sharp. I had a friend ask me, well, why did you go out buy the books? Can you find that an app on your phone? I could. I really could find an app on my phone. That's not right or wrong. If that works for you, that's good. But for me, I'm actually trying to go back to that throwback era to where I can get a magazine, something tangible in my hand. I want to start reading again. I want to get a hard copy book. I love audiobooks, especially when you get you a good narrator. Y'all, oh, honey. Woo, woo, woo. Them books, boy. I be listening to them audiobooks at work, y'all. And if I got me a good narrator on sharing that story, somebody coming in asking me a question about work, y'all, mind y'all at work, I'm already ready to go off. I want to go off on them so bad. And I know ding dong well that I'm supposed to be working. Work is supposed to be the priority at that moment. But I want to start just reading like those hard copies. Because last night I realized during that presentation on self-care that when I used to read books back in the day, the hard books, that there was a sense of relief at that time. Not only relief, release. I was able to release my mind. So, yeah. Um, Two questions. Are you making enough time for activities that mentally stimulate you? Right? Not talking about no hawk pook. Joking. No, but those hobbies and things you like to do. Sorry, y'all. Um, and are you doing proactive things to help you stay mentally healthy? We don't wait till we break down, right? It's just like a car. We should be doing maintenance on our car to prevent the breakdown as much as possible. Now, if you have that car that I have, and I sure want to do like a TikTok thing on that on my car, y'all. I'm supposed to have a luxury car. I think I paid more in repairs than I paid for the cost of the car, but ooh, y'all, that's another episode. Let me tell you, that tests my mental health thug. Okay. Anyways, it's just like a car. We got to take care of that car. We got to do that maintenance. We got to do what we need to do to keep those cars going. So that's something that we have to do with our self-care. Spiritual self-care. It says research shows that a lifestyle including religion or spirituality is generally a healthier lifestyle. Okay? Nurturing your spirit, however, doesn't have to involve religion. It can involve anything that helps you. Remember, we're talking about self. Develop a deeper sense of meaning, understanding. It says, or connection with the universe. Like, I'm a believer, right? That's what works for me. That's what gives me my foundation, right? If you want to know more about that, hit me up because I'll tell you more about it. But for this conversation, I want to add it's whatever you do that nurtures your spirit, that is healthy, not harmful to the body. I'm learning that I have to clear this. Okay? Because what you feel may nurture your spirit may not be healthy for the other areas of your body, whatever that looks like. So that spirituality piece or that religion piece is key again. Because it gives you that deeper sense of meaning, understanding, and connection. And that's my relationship with God through our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That is mine, what gives me that connection that I need. Again, yours may not align with mine. I'm not going to get into a tug of war about that. But if you do want to know more about it, you hit me up. Okay? So I'm just saying. But whatever gives you that sense of connection, because again, it's self. It's not Kimbralon, right? It's self. It's what you need for self. I said that about 4 or 5 times because I have to make it clear. It's interesting when you talk about spirituality or religion. Boy, people are ready to fight you like you done cuss them out. Like you trying to condemn them and judge them. And, I've had people say, well, Kimberly, people have done that before. And they do, okay, you know what? They probably have. Just tell them to keep it moving or you keep it moving, right? You either accept it or reject it. Just because somebody's putting it out there doesn't mean you have to accept it, right? You can excuse yourself from it, okay? So I always tell people, don't come to me with it. I just put out, what I do and what works for me. Spiritual self-care is very important. I'm going to tell y'all a little story about me being a therapist. It's okay to have Jesus and a therapist, right? But I will tell you this. I've had people at church, and this is not me being shady, okay? Come and say, hey, do you do Christian counseling? I tell them, no. I am a counselor that's Christian, but I work with anyone. And the reason I say that, now this is my experience. Again, there's Christian counselors out there. Fun fact, I have a Christian counselor. So don't nobody come and say that you doing this and you say, I have a Christian counselor. That's my preference. But the reason I don't work with people seeking a Christian counselor, not a counselor that's Christian, is because I need to get to that secular part of you. I told people there's people like in church that can help with that part, or if you specifically need a Christian part, you can go work with those people. They probably got techniques to work with you, like my counselor probably has to work with me. But usually people that you work with that come and ask you that question, they're not really going to dig deep in their issues. They're not, because sometimes we don't want to feel judged. We think somebody may say something to us, and it presents a challenge, right? So I want people to feel comfortable. But again, Christian counselors probably have strategies to work with people, but my preference, I don't, for that very reason, because I need people to feel free to dig deep, because unfortunately people do put people's business out here. We see it all day, every day, right? I mean, in them Instagram streets, like, I mean, when I say business is out, business be out. So here are the two questions about the spiritual self-care. What questions do you ask yourself about your life and experience? Second question is, are you engaging in spiritual or religious practices that you find fulfilling? Again, I've shared a little bit about what works for me, probably what works for others, but what are you? Remember, we're talking about self-care. What are you doing that you find fulfilling? Emotional self-care. It is important to have healthy coping skills to deal with uncomfortable emotions, right? Because again, we said life is going to be life, and there's no way to avoid things like anger, anxiety, and sadness, right? Even the Bible speaks of that. Like, some people think they need to be happy all the time. Happy is a temporary emotion. We love to feel happy, but we know we could be happy while we walking through the store. But if somebody cuts us off, if somebody grabs that last box of cornbread or something off the shelf, or somebody cuts in line, or somebody go through the self-checkout that says 10 items or less, and they have about 50 items in that basket, or they taking their sweet time ringing their stuff up, baby, it will test that mental health thug that's inside of all of us, right? So those are those uncomfortable emotions. We don't like to feel it, and sometimes that's why people actually like lash out, because nobody wants to feel that. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. I used to say when I get angry, I want somebody else to feel angry. I do my best to poke they bear so I can start to feel better and they can start to feel worse. But really, it doesn't make me feel better in the end anyway, though. But emotional self care may include activities that help us acknowledge. We got to be able to acknowledge it and express our feelings regularly, not being a stuffer and not being somebody that shouts from the rooftop immediately. We like to, AKA, we like to call it pop off, right? And safely. Ain't no baddies here, right? We ain't gonna just sit up here. We can't just go clock people. You don't get paid like they do to fight each other. So you just can't just go turn up in the grocery store when somebody grabbed that box of cornbread. You just can't go wailing on them like that and, fighting fist to cuff. So just having somebody to talk to, right? Partner, close friends, about how you feel. Or set aside time for leisure activities to help you process your emotions. It's important to incorporate this emotional self-care in your life. And I want to mention right here, if you don't have that partner or your close friend, you may need to go see a counselor or a therapist. And there's a reason that I bring this up. I had a clinical supervisor who said usually when you talk to like a partner or close friends, that they're either going to be a pillow, a soft pillow, or be a pillowcase with a bunch of tools in it, right? Trying to fix. And which one do you want to, sleep on? Because most of the time, the partners and the close friends, they want to fix it. They don't want you sitting in those emotional feelings. It may look like, girl, you don't have to take that. It may look like them agreeing with you. But that may not be what you need at that time. It can make you feel better for a second, but it may not be what you need at that moment, right? So you may have to shift. And usually, when you go see a counselor or a therapist, it should be a neutral experience. You should be at a place that you can express and discuss those uncomfortable feelings with a trusted person that is going to keep your information confidential. That means they're going to keep it a secret, right? Unless you talk about harming yourself. You talk about harming yourself or somebody else, they're going to tell your business. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, because really that is an extra layer of safety protection to protect you and that person you may be upset about. But I do like to put that out there, that that's the only way your confidentiality should be broken. So if somebody's out here that's a healthcare professional that is sharing your business, they can get into big trouble. But going back to that neutral person that you can talk to, if we have that neutral person we can talk to, we are going to feel that sense of safety. And so we are going to share our thoughts and be able to work through our emotions and have those strategies to work through those emotions. So it's very important, again, that you incorporate the emotional self-care into your life. Here are the two questions. When assessing your emotional self-care strategies, ask yourself the following questions. Do you have healthy ways to process your emotions? Do you incorporate activities into your life that can help you feel recharged? Because we talked about that being uncomfortable, but do you have those strategies to help you feel refreshed and recharged once that anger has gone away, once that anxiety has decreased? Right? What do you have to make you feel better so you can just go on and experience that joy until the next stressor comes along? Because we said it's gonna come along, right? Yeah. Okay. So it's important that you identify an effective self-care routine, right? Because these routines can help decrease like anxiety and depression, reduce that stress and improve your resilience, improving that happiness, getting that recharge and increasing that energy, reducing those feelings of burnout that can lead to lack of motivation, lack of engagement that can take you back, and building those strong relationships, those strong, healthy, let's use the word healthy relationships. Oh, this is important that they have in the article. According to the World Health Organization, self care is important because it can help promote health, prevent disease, and help people better cope with illness. So, what are you going to do to develop your self care plan? Again, when I ask people what do they do, I like to go to the spa every now and then. Life happens between the now and the then, okay? So, figuring out what you need for yourself, assessing your needs. It talked about making a list. Just what do you need? Ask yourself, what do I need to feel better? Write your answers down or type your answers down. I don't know. If you're in the digital age, you may be typing, you may be putting it on your phone. I like to write it down because I'm able to experience that and feel that. And let it just free flow. Don't try to organize it and think, what makes me feel good? Yeah, I like going to the spa. I like going on vacations. No, let it free flow. Even if it doesn't make sense at that moment, you're going to revisit the list anyway and make it make sense. Consider your stressors. That's important. Some people, I don't get mad that much. Well, what makes you mad? No. What stresses you? What provides us stress? Is it financial stress? If you don't know, like, dang, what could cause me stress? Is it kids? Is it this or that? Google it. What are stressors? And maybe if you see that list that can prompt your thought process. Plan for challenges. We know life be life, and that's all we talked about. What can you do once we start to implement your self-care plan? If life happens unexpectedly and you have to pivot, what self-care strategies can you put in place on those pivot days? The days I can't go run along the beach, right? And I'm in the office because, Sally Student sat up there and no, she done told a goddamn lie, right? And didn't tell the truth. And I really want to go in on her right now. But what can I do in that moment? Do I have me a breathing technique? Am I able to go to the restroom? Sometimes you got to go to that restroom um, and sit there and regroup. But one thing that I learned, oh my God, restrooms. Oh my God. Go if it's before lunch, you may want to go to the restroom. After lunch, y'all don't know a person that can regroup in no bathroom. Ugh. Anyway, sorry y'all. That I mean, I ain't gonna say it's TMI. Some of y'all probably even know what I'm talking about. So yeah, consider those stressors and take small steps, right? Sometimes we come up with these big elaborate plans. I ask people, what do you want to do? Some people go from doing nothing to where they want to do something 5 days a week. No, okay. This isn't me doubting you, but if you can't go from 0 to 10, it's okay if you go one day. That's still accomplishment. It's okay if you go 5 minutes. It's an accomplishment, right? Just keep a plan to keep increasing that because any progress is progress. Sitting there is just not progress, okay? A lack of progress or an excuse. And schedule time to focus on your needs, right? Schedule time to focus on your needs. So, us scheduling that time. The presenter last night, right there, called us out. Write down. She had us write down. And she says, take out your phone, set your alarm, and write whatever self-care activity on that alarm. Have that alarm go off every day. And I did it so I can hold myself accountable. And I had to be realistic with my time. Y'all, I got to share this real quick. Because I was like, I need to take time out. I said, but I like to binge watch all the time. And some people, that's self-care. Sometimes it is, y'all. And sometimes it's just me I don't know what's going on, right? So I don't know if I would consider it self-care. But I like to binge watch shows. And I have to be a realist in my case. Because first I was like, I'm going to do self-care at this time every day. And it's usually when I'm binge watching TV. Now, if self-care is going against a typical, even if it's healthy or unhealthy, competing priority, whether it's cooking dinner for children, me binge watching, or whatever that looks like, chances are with me and my self-care, if I was making a plan, binge watching is going to win. Even though I just told you how healthy, the benefits of self-care, because I'm putting it against something that I'm used to doing. So I had to identify a time where I usually do downtime, but this is my schedule. Because if I put it in where I'm doing downtime, chances are I'm going to stick to that activity. So that's what I had to do for myself. And that's what I did do. I haven't tried it yet, y'all, because my alarm hasn't gone off yet. I even forgot what time I set it for. But I'm going to do that activity when my alarm goes off. So I challenge you to find a plan that works for you. If you're somebody that has to write it down, has to schedule it, write it down or schedule it, right? And commit to it, right? Remember, this is for us. This is for you, right? I mean, everybody else benefits from it. Like, don't be like me where I take strategies and pass it down like I'm doing them a favor, when really I'm excusing myself from being accountable. This is something to do for you. You owe you this. You deserve this. You are awesome. And in order for you to stay as awesome and as amazing as all as you want to be, you got to take care of you so you can continue to be the best version of yourself. All right, so I went over my time, y'all. At first, I didn't think I could talk that much about self-care, but I guess I did, and I'm so proud of myself. Yay! Y'all, I promise, I need to get me a little music. I need to find me an intro. I want a fantabulous intro. Hopefully in a couple of shows I'll actually have it. I want to get that camera action going. But again, if you need any assistance with your self care, you can definitely make an appointment with a counselor or a therapist to work with you. They actually help with good things too. I know sometimes we think we go for bad things, but they can help you identify a self care plan as well if you're unable to do that. So feel free to see one. And if you're not feeling your best, it's and you don't have anybody to talk to, or you feel you can't talk to people freely, or you have to hold, or you find yourself holding back because you don't want to be truthful, you may want to consider a counselor or a therapist. Just saying. And it's not because I'm in the field, but I'm really being honest. You have that neutral person to talk to. You're able to talk to them. They keep it a secret. Again, unless you talk about harming yourself or others, then they have to tell. Okay? And that's only fair. You got to give us a break in that area. But you'll have that person to talk to, and with that person, you know that you can leave it there. That loved ones aren't injured by what you're saying, right? You can, if you're not feeling your best, you can call 988. That's the crisis line. Or you can call 911 if you need immediate assistance where you're at. But going back to the therapist, you can Google, you can go to places like Psychology Today. You can call your insurance. If you have like an employment assistance program through your job, utilize those sessions, those 5 or 6 sessions. And if you're able to continue, I mean, they can give you options there. So there's different ways to find a counselor or a therapist. So you can actually put that in your Google search bar. And if you have any preferences, right, you can put it in there and it'll connect you to people. And you can ask the questions about this insurance, how much it costs, so forth and so on. So today has been awesome. So I hope you got something that you can use. I left you with a little homework. I left me with a lot of homework. And ultimately, the way we are going to be graded is how we feel in those 5 areas, right? And if we engage in self-care and we be consistent with it and active, we should start to feel better. And even on days that we don't feel our best, we can identify strategies to help us feel better. And then we can get back to that best version of us. I want to hear how your homework is going. I would love for you to share. I have a Gmail address because I'm not that Hollywood yet. goodtandreads@gmail.com. If you feel like sharing, like, hey, I developed a self-care plan. You don't have to give me the details unless you want to, and how it's working for you. Or share what you learned about yourself, areas that you can improve, areas where how you recharged, so you could be the best version of yourself. All right, y'all. Until next time, this is your host, Kimbralon B, with good tea and reads. Pouring that piping hot tea. Make it a good one. Talk to you soon.